Welcome to the PigPenPodcast.
That was amazing.
Thanks. I'm super fucking stoked. I guess I'm not supposed to curse in the first minute.
Just do it again.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're good. We're rolling. Let's go.
Okay, because we're not making money, right?
If we get demonetized, it's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
All right. So
actually, this is us just really sticking it to YouTube.
We're sticking it to YouTube because YouTube has been sticking it to us.
Yeah, and the reason I laughed, we've tried to film this probably 10 times.
Yeah, like we're actually on the 19th attempt right now.
Yeah, because the audio has just continued to just be. We finally gotten it to where we want it, but yeah, it's really gotten us.
And it's a good thing we're in such a happy mood today because all these sad events.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the movie we just watched. What was it even called?
Dude, Triangle of Sadness. And let me tell you, our triangles are saddened right now. You can tell by our faces.
Yeah, no, I'm crying, but I'm crying through laughter.
Yeah, we never told them our names. That's how many times we've tried to film this. We just lost track of our lives.
If you are tuning in for the first time, if you don't know, I am your host, Damien.
Yeah, and I'm your other host, Justin.
And this is our 19th attempt.
And this is
the final attempt.
The final attempt.
So if this episode comes out wacky, you know what?
It's because it's because we just don't care.
We're just sticking it to the man.
We are.
And this movie had a lot to do with the man.
It had a lot to do with. Did it though?
Well, yeah, because a lot of people.
You're right. Actually, it did have the gender roles were actually a pretty prominent point.
Well, also like the 1% is referred, like the high up, the corporate elite. That's the man.
Yeah, no, you're right. This movie was very much. Well, let's get into the synopsis. Yeah, because the last few times we recorded, we had a lot of funny bits. We had a lot of good banter back and forth, and now we're just both sitting here, and we just feel like. We just feel empty.
Yeah, we really do. Honestly, I feel like it's fate telling us to be sad because
it is
the triangle of sadness.
Yeah.
However, if we wanna keep up our funny, super happy-go-lucky appearances for the audience, let's give them one hell of a show, dude.
One hell of a show.
One absolute hell of a show.
And how do we start the show with a synopsis?
We usually do. I mean, this show started off a little bit different than our normal review rooms, but we could get back into the frame of it if we want to.
Yeah.
Are you ready to do that?
All right, let's get
everyone
into
at home. So if you're new to the review room, we're gonna give you a synopsis, and then we're gonna give you a spoiler-filled review at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So
the majority of the video, honestly.
Yeah, the majority of the video. Your spoiler-free review is probably gonna be like. What, less than 10 minutes?
Yeah, no, it's going to be less than 5.
Less than 5?
Which is less than 10.
All right, dude, give me a synopsis.
So actually, yeah.
Yeah. Give me a synopsis.
So this movie is about a bunch of rich people on a yacht, and it's a lot about class divide, and there's a lot of service workers, obviously, and the movie is about kind of how the lives of these people divulge. And eventually, can I say this? I don't know.
Can you say what?
Can I say where they end up? Or is that too spoilery?
I feel like that's too spoilery. I feel like we can just say they get into some sticky situations.
Yeah,
some
they do get into some real
shitty
sticky situations.
And I said this, dude, again, 20th time recording, but I said this the first time. I have to re-preface this. This movie's got quite a bit of human fluids in it.
Human fluids.
Human fluids.
Yeah,
and if you're not a fan of the human fluids, I would stay away from this one.
Yeah, it's overabundant.
One might say spewing.
Yeah, spewing from all sides and all holes
at the same time, and you get to see that.
Yeah,
and it's not the most pleasant.
And it goes on, just like we're going on right now.
Yeah, but all right. So the whole movie. We watched it just now. What are your thoughts? Should someone go see this?
Me personally, I think that because I would say this is like a dark comedy drama.
Yeah.
So if you're into the format of a movie that is a little slower paced, a lot about characterization and theme, and you're in it not for the intricate beat by beat plot. You're more in it to maybe have a new understanding of something or have a or just watch something that makes you think about a certain aspect of life. That's kind of what this movie is.
Yeah.
Whether or not it accomplished that, but that's what the movie's going for. And personally, I would say that if you're into that, I feel like this is worth watching.
Well, I'm glad you think that.
So you don't think it's worth watching?
This is just like the climax episode, dude. I didn't like it. I don't even know if it's worth watching, in my opinion.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I actually very much didn't like this one.
You very much disliked it?
Yeah. I wanna give what we liked and what we didn't like, but
Definitely.
I think we should start off with what we didn't like, because I think you said in the last time it brings a little bit of light of positivity.
Yeah.
And I don't think this movie is like a piece of garbage, right? I don't think it's like gutter trash, but it's just not something I was behind. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I want, since you're the more positive of the two of us, I want you to give what you didn't like. Is there anything that you were like, that was kind of weird?
Well, dude, I know we've tried to film this video 20 times, but you've lost track of where we're at. We're still in the spoiler free.
Oh my God, we haven't done the 1, 2, 3 countdown.
We're losing our minds,
dude. We are literally, the stress and anxiety is built up so much at this point that we're overflowing with words, and all of like the catchphrases that we have in our episodes are all coming out at the same time.
I know, dude. And we're essentially in the same position the characters were from start to finish, and we're at the end of our ropes, man.
Good way to tie it back into the movie.
Yeah, there you go, dude.
You know what?
I have some aspect of intelligence still left.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
This, to me right now, this is the dark horse episode of our channel's history.
Okay. Yeah, this is unique because we're trying to have energy and form words.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways,
I got energy, dude. I'm.
You're right.
See?
Okay. I'm not gonna do that. I'll just let the people. I'll just let the people listen to my word. I also have energy.
All right.
Okay.
They believe you.
Good.
They believe you. All right. Guys.
All right. Spoiler free.
Guesses.
I say go watch it if you like what I said. Damien says he wasn't a fan. So there you go.
There you go.
You don't know us personally, but you know us by a few of our videos and our opinions of things. So just judge us and then decide if you want to watch the movie.
We're right. End of story.
We can't both be right if we disagree.
Well, we are right. So
actually, you know what?
What I'm saying is, like, listen to this podcast and then form your opinion.
We can both be right if we disagree.
That's true.
Because that is the entire definition of opinion.
Yeah, this is a subjective matter.
It is. Yeah.
All right. You ready to get into the spoilers?
Let's get into the spoiler free, and we're gonna argue and beat each other up.
We're getting into the spoiler filled.
Oh shit! I can't do this anymore. I can't. I feel like I'm in a Clockwork Orange,
dude,
with my eyes getting peeled.
I'm foaming.
All right. We gotta do a 3, 2, 1. We gotta at least do that.
All right, everybody. In 3, 2, 1, we're gonna start spewing spoilers out of our butt like a big shit steam pile coming out of a seafood ass.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. 3. You gonna say 2? No, I gotta say all of it.
2,
1. Spoiler time, motherfuckers.
If you haven't seen it, get out.
All right. So spoiler time.
Yeah. What we didn't like.
What I didn't like about this movie.
Yeah, what did you just not like, dude? Come on, throw it at me.
All right, so I just didn't like the pacing.
The pacing?
I did not like the pacing. So the movie split up into 3 acts.
It is.
Act 1 is about our two, I would call them our main characters. Our main characters are both models. And Act 1 is about their introduction, their relationship before they go on to Act 2, which is the cruise.
Yeah.
And then at the end of Act 2, the cruise is destroyed, and Act 3, they're stranded on an island.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, they did throw me for a loop when the cruise got destroyed, so I'll give the movie that point. But,
yeah, when the pirates showed up and threw a grenade, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
But Act 1, to me, by the end of the movie, I almost felt like it was wasted time. I don't think anything I learned in Act 1 mattered.
Really?
Yes.
I completely disagree.
I wholeheartedly think that the entirety of Act 1 could have been taken out of this movie, and I would have still enjoyed it the same.
Act 1, in my opinion, was the foundation of the characterization of of Yaya and Cole. Was that his name? Cole? Corey?
I think it was Cole.
Colin?
I think
can't
it was
remember.
Cole. But yeah, Yaya is his girlfriend, and he is Cole. We're gonna say Cole until Justin looks it up.
I'm looking it up because I hate getting names wrong.
But so these two characters, they're in a relationship, and they have some struggles with like money, right?
Carl.
It was Carl. So we would have been wrong if we stuck with.
It was
Cole.
a C word, not the C word.
But by the end of the movie, Carl isn't
We're doing okay.
like his relationship with Yaya means so little by the end of the movie that like the foundation of the relationship, I felt like I didn't even give a single flying fuck about it, whether they lasted or not. Because in Act 2, we barely see anything of their relationship further. Like they're just kind of like taking pictures together, having sex, just like typical rich people shit. And then in Act 3, as soon as what was her name? It was Angelina? Abigail starts becoming the captain. As soon as she does that, it's like Carl. He's Cole now.
Cole Sprouse.
Cole Sprouse. He just like he dips on her and just starts sleeping with Abigail.
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't even fault him for it because Yaya is such an asshole of a character.
What?
Yaya sucks.
What do you mean?
Dude, she's the worst.
I don't think she's the worst.
Dude, in the beginning of the movie, she straight up manipulates the fuck out of him in their first money conversation.
Okay, but hold on. Here might actually, you know
and
what?
then when she comes
go ahead.
back to have an actual conversation about it, she laughs at him the whole time they're having the conversation.
Right.
When he's trying to be serious. And then in the cruise, she's your typical Instagram model, taking pictures of her food, not eating the food, then also just kind of being an overall nuisance. And then at the end, she's like super entitled and she's mad at Carl for absolutely no reason. And then he just ends up getting with Abigail. And it's like, okay, well, these two characters' relationship at the beginning of the movie, I thought was going to be the main part of the movie. And then it just turned out to not matter at all.
Yeah, that's what I was about to tell you is like that wasn't what their characters' arcs were. It was not the relationship personally. But what I was going to say, though, is that when I said like Yaya wasn't the worst, it's because, in my opinion, Carl was way worse than Yaya.
Really?
Yeah, because you're right. In the first act of the movie, by the end of that act, we're rooting for Carl in the idea of, if we're basing it, if we're going into the rest of the movie thinking we have to choose sides. Me personally, I'm on Carl's side. At the end of the movie, though, like we kind of realized that, in my opinion, I feel like Carl was a bit of a parasite, dude, because his entire character in the first act, he's talking about equality, and he wants to have equality with Yaya. And I agree. She admits to being manipulative, and she also doesn't take him seriously at first. Obviously, she comes back and then they have a moment of clarity where they both kind of are like, they both have the understanding finally. That's like the end of the first act.
Yeah.
So going into the yacht. But in my opinion, I feel like yeah, they're both definitely entitled people. And they're both part of that class of people. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. But in the third act, I feel like you kind of see like the real side of Carl, to where he wants to have equality with Yaya because and this is kind of like the whole thing. Like, I don't know if I can even call him a parasite really, because it's really, this whole movie is challenging your view. That's what the whole point of the movie is to challenge your view on society. But what I'm saying is, by the end of the movie, when Carl is essentially, he notices the power dynamics. He notices that Abigail is now at the top of the line. He immediately dismisses Yaya and goes for Abigail, because he realizes if he does that, he's going to get to sleep in the boat and he's going to get to eat more food.
Well, when he does that, although he could have been manipulating Yaya, because he was getting the pretzel sticks for Yaya. Is the whole reason he did it in the first place.
Yeah, but...
And then she was like, no, come sleep in the boat with me. And he was like talking to Yaya, like... Although, yeah, because when they were talking, he's like, I don't know, she might want me to do something. So, yeah, I think Carl, he's not a good person. Like, I didn't think he was great, but I feel like Yaya is just as bad as he is.
But yeah,
and I feel like she never gets like, she starts off bad, like you said. But the thing is, I don't ever see a redemption from her.
but I don't ever see her do anything bad though. Like, yeah, she's toxic
Well, that's bad.
in the first act, but I'm saying like that's the only time she's toxic. She's not toxic the rest of the movie.
Except being a toxic Instagram model.
Okay.
And not eating her food. That pissed me off.
Okay, but like whatever your idea is of that job, which yes, I understand, it's a very weird because of
I don't care if she takes pictures of her food, dude. I don't care about that part. I don't care that she is an Instagram model. I care that she took pictures of her food, posed with it, and then pushed it away and was like, ew, I'm not eating that. Like, fuck you.
she's
Eat your
gluten
fucking
intolerant,
food.
dude.
Don't take pictures with gluten.
Yeah, but it's not okay. I understand what you're saying, but the whole social media thing, yeah, our opinions on that, it depends on if that changes your view of how of a person in general. Which yes, I agree. The way people interact with the internet, I feel like plays a lot into who a person is. Honestly, sometimes. But either way, I don't think she actually did anything toxic the rest of the movie. You know what I mean?
I just gotta say this. I'm a social media star, and
Yeah.
I eat my spaghetti when I order spaghetti.
When you take pictures of yourself eating it.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
time.
But honestly, though,
Okay, so you said she didn't do anything toxic. I don't know. I feel like she's just like a not fun person. Like she just is like that. See, although I'm not the biggest fan of like entitled people, and she just is an entitled person. So maybe that's why I don't like her.
she is an entitled person, but I feel like she was her and Cole, was that
Carl.
Carl? Okay, God, dude.
They also just didn't get
Her
that.
and Carl were the least entitled on the boat.
Yeah,
as
they
far
were
as
definitely
everyone.
the least entitled
Yeah.
on the boat. However, I also feel like this movie does a White Lotus thing, where like every character is essentially the main character. Like
Exactly.
these two aren't your main
No.
characters. They're just the ones that get the whole first act dedicated to them.
because their characters are the entire foundation of the third act and the ending.
Yeah. I guess because like
Carl, Abigail, and Yaya's is the story of the third act.
yeah, that's true. It's just I don't know, since this is a character driven movie, I did not really like any of the characters in this movie.
I don't
And-
think you're supposed to.
Well, I know you're not supposed to, but I'm saying I wasn't even rooting for anyone. So the fact that I'm watching these characters, I didn't feel like I really cared where their stories ended up. And, you know, like Carl and Yaya that's where our act 1 starts. So then in my brain, I formulate, okay, well, this movie's going to be about them. And then in act 2, it's about everyone else. So I'm like, okay, so Carl and Yaya aren't as big as a part of the plot as I thought. And then act 3, Carl and Yaya are back in the plot, but now there's a third person. And it's like I'm supposed to, like, what am I supposed to be feeling here?
I don't know. I feel like you approached this movie a little less open-minded than you should have.
It's not so like the commentary, which is on the nose at certain points, but is not like on the nose the entire movie. But the social commentary is essentially commentating on class divide. And,
The theme. The theme of the movie.
Theme of the
for
movie.
Sure.
And I thought some of that stuff was interesting, and I feel like it just didn't really like challenge my views. So I like, because when I go into a movie, I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't really think of one. But if I go into a movie and I'm like, okay, this is what this movie is trying to say, then I'm not really in the open-minded state to be learning something. You know what I mean? Mickey 17. I went to go see that movie. I wasn't expecting to be a social commentary movie, and it's fine that it was. But when I went to go see it, it did not challenge my views at all. It just reinforced my views. You see what I'm saying? Like, I did not go into it expecting it to open my mind. And then the fact that it did nothing to open my mind, it just enforced a view that I already had. My mind was never open at any point in the movie. With me, I feel like a movie's got to open my mind. It can't just be like, asking me to do the work beforehand. You know what I mean?
I don't think this movie. First of all, I agree with you with Mickey 17, but Mickey 17 handled it in a very different way than this movie, because at the end of the day, like the theme of this movie is something that every single person in the world deals with every day.
Yeah.
And including us, including someone who's a lot richer than us, to where I feel like with this movie, you know, talking about the themes of classism and the divide of wealth and power and the dynamics of that is, no matter what your view is, somebody who has a lot of money and a lot of power is a human the same as you are. And the way you view that person is up to you, and also their, you know, actions or whatever. But I feel like with this movie, like, I am still going to view all these, you know, out of touch people as people. So then you know, at the end of the day, I don't know, it's still, it doesn't challenge a view I've already had to where, but it makes me think, because if I was in a position where I had wealth and power, you know, or if I was in a position on an island where, you know, this woman has all of the, she is the captain now.
I will say, when she is the captain now, that was
Yeah.
the most interesting part of the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I agree. That's like the third act is the climax of the entire social, like, class divide, because it puts them all on an equal playing field. You know,
Yeah.
it puts them all on an equal playing field. They all have nothing on an island, except then it's like, wait, she has something. She has skills. Okay. Then she has the power, and then she is now the one in control of all of them, to where then you kind of see the real part of Corey, to where
Cole.
no, it's Corey.
It's Carl.
It's Carl. Shit.
This fucker.
I was so
dude.
confident. I was like, no, it's Corey.
It's Carl.
It's Carl. But like, he latches on to that power. Now, like you said, we also saw a couple scenes of him, you know, he is trying to help Yaya a couple times too. But either way, because let me ask you this. Okay, I know I'm yapping, so let me ask you this. At the end, do you think Abigail killed Yaya?
Yes.
Why is that? Why do you think she did?
Because I think that she was a toilet cleaner. Like the one.
That's all you say.
That's it.
Because she was a toilet cleaner.
No, okay, but the one lady who was like the hostess, like the manager hostess or whatever, she kept referring to her as, "You're the toilet cleaner." Like, that was her whole identity in the movie so far. And then she gets to this island where everyone is depending on her and they need her. And she is now the one in power and the one who controls everything, because she's the only one who knows how to, like, gather food and, like, make fires and stuff. And I think that she did not want to go back to, because if they got rescued, she's back to being, you know, low class toilet cleaner, like going back to her regular she's going back to her regular life. And where everyone else is having an awful time because they're living on the stranded island when they're normally used to being like lavish lives, she's already like has a shit life, but now she has power.
Yeah.
So I think that she wanted to keep her power, and Yaya is the only other person who knew that they were actually on a resort island the whole time. And then when Yaya turns her back, I feel that she did kill her, which I think is reinforced by the scene of Carl running through the trees.
Yeah. And what would you do in her position? Would you kill Yaya?
No.
No?
If I was in Abigail's position, probably not.
Yeah. Why
Because
is that?
I don't really want to live on an island.
Yeah.
I don't care if I have power or not. I just don't want to live on an island. I want to play video games.
Yeah, that's actually fair.
Yeah.
So, because in my opinion, that last scene right there is like the whole culmination of it not showing us is because you, as the person who just watched this movie, I feel like however you answer that question is, it just shows like the kind of person not the kind of person you are, but I don't know. It kind of, however you answer that question is, I guess, maybe a little window into who you are a little bit, I feel like. Because if you believe that she didn't kill her, then you have to ask yourself, why? Why do I not think she killed her? Well, because obviously know a lot more than Abigail knows, because we know that there's a dude selling random bags to the rest of them, so they're all probably going to figure out they're on a resort no matter what happens.
Yeah.
And then eventually Abigail's going to have to go back to that life, or probably to where obviously Yaya says the thing where she's like, "Oh, you can be my assistant," to where, which
it also shows that that line to me showed that Yaya has not grown from this experience.
Well,
because she's like, "Oh, we're saved. We're going back to the life, and you can resume your position of being a servant." To Abigail, this girl that has given her life for this last however long it's been since they're on the island.
Okay, I understand that, but at the same time, I feel like it is a little bit of growth.
I don't know, because was Yaya even really in the position to offer help? Because we saw in the restaurant at the beginning, she didn't have any money.
Yeah, but also the thing is too with Yaya's character is like, because I thought maybe
I also felt it was a little backhanded because Yaya was mad at Abigail for sleeping with Carl.
Well, that's what I was about to say. And then when they realize that they're saved, like Yaya doesn't care anymore. She's cool with Abigail now. Like
I don't think she was cool with it though. I felt like the you can be my assistant was like backhanded.
Okay. See, that's another thing is like, do you feel like she was being genuine? And you don't.
I don't.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I don't know actually whether or not that was genuine, because when somebody's in a position like that, and if they were to then be saved, there's nothing that would actually make her have to actually follow through. So
yeah,
very well could have been just
this movie. There's
out the ass.
Pretty much everything in this movie is up to interpretation. This movie it's very much like Climax that we covered a while ago, and also like you were. I think you said it in this recording, but it could have been one of the 19 other recordings that we've done.
Yeah, it was. I think
like White Lotus. It's very much you're literally just sitting back and watching these characters react to situations that they're in. The plot is they get on a cruise gets attacked, they're on an island now. That's the whole plot of the movie. So you really are, the whole movie is seeing these characters and what they do, and the entire movie is up to you to interpret what their motivations are and why they're doing the things they're doing, and do you think they're genuine and all that stuff. And I think that works in certain movies, but this movie, I just didn't feel for any of the characters like that, where I actually cared about where they ended up and for their motivations. I felt like every character, I don't really feel like anyone changed except the guy in the pink shirt, the bigger, older guy. He was like the only character that I felt like actually had character growth.
Well, I feel like he was the most consistent character.
No, because in the beginning of the movie, he's talking about how much he loves capitalism and everything. And then him and Woody Harrelson have their drunken night and they talk about capitalism and communism the entire time. And then he's no longer spewing his capitalist nonsense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's no longer doing that. And then he's also like pitching in that one line when they're at the campfire, he's like, everyone has something to give and everyone needs something, so let's all work together, which is very much more of a socialistic ideal than a capitalist ideal.
Yes, but that's another thing. Like, was he just saying that because he wants food?
Was he saying, because was he genuine? But like, it's what I'm saying is like, I didn't feel any character growth from any of the characters except him, and we still don't even know if his was genuine.
Right, because he accepted the power dynamic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
but then again, if you watch his character in the beginning, I don't know. Would he have accepted a power dynamic earlier on, because he's been in power for, he sells shit, as he likes to say.
He says, I sell shit.
Yes, but either way, and then who was your favorite character though? Tell me this. Who was your favorite character? Who actually? There was a character who had character growth and character development.
I think Woody Harrelson is my favorite character.
I'm a shit socialist.
Yeah, but
that was his character growth.
It was just because he was funny. I mean, I didn't feel like a ton for his actual character, but like he was just the funniest person on the screen.
Yeah, I liked his character because it was he stood.
He also
out.
didn't have a name. Oh no, it was Thomas. It was Thomas. Okay.
But yeah, he stood out to all the other characters, so that made him fun to watch. But either way, I think I kind of get what you're saying, but I don't know. I'm just starting to think these kind of movies are not up your alley. Because you mentioned pacing again. Because you said that in Climax, but like these type of movies, I am not bothered by this kind of pacing. I enjoy this type of movie because these type of movies always have this kind of pacing.
See, if I felt for any of the characters, then I wouldn't have been so against the pacing. But I didn't care about any of the characters. So, like, when I see a character I don't care about on screen, I'm waiting for the next time that I see a character I care about on screen. So the pacing just feels off because I just don't care about any of the characters.
Yeah, like, but I don't mind that, I guess, because the theme of the movie is that is showing us how out of touch these people are and how they shouldn't have any problems, and yet they're almost creating their own
Yeah.
because that's who we are as people, you know. We always want more, even when we have enough.
Remind me about the pool lady when we get to the stuff that I liked.
Okay.
Remind me about the pool
I
lady.
forgot we're still doing like a split on that.
Yeah. When we get to the stuff that I liked, remind me about the pool lady because she plays a part and it'll jog my memory.
You just want to jump into that?
I do have two more things I want to say that I didn't like.
All right, go ahead.
We don't have to talk about them for as long because we kind of already have. However, I just need to preface that I did not like them.
Okay.
The pirate showing up and taking over the boat. That whole sequence felt so like I was just so overwhelmed by that. And I was just like, what is happening? And I get that that's kind of what the movie was going for because that comes at the end of the whole shitting and puking sequence, which I thought was well done. But like all the guests, you know, when they were like eating and they started shitting and puking.
Yep.
And then immediately after that, it's morning. Woody Harrelson and Pink Shirt Guy are having their communist Marxist talk, and then the pirates show up, and I'm like, that's just so fucking out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like I was like, when I saw the boat pulling it, I thought originally it was going to be like a lifeboat or something, or like someone to come save them, and I was immediately already put off. And then when it was the pirates, I was like, what? I mean, I guess it makes sense, you know, and like it's the reason Act 3 happens, but I just didn't like it. I was just like, okay.
You felt like, so you're saying you felt like the movie was too unpredictable.
A little, yeah.
And I enjoyed that.
Well, it's
because
I like it in some movies though. So that's what I'm saying is like I don't think it's a bad thing to be unpredictable with your movie. It was just I don't know. I feel like there's just you know what this movie gives me? It gives me very hard Wes Anderson vibes.
Really?
Yeah. This movie gave me a lot of Wes Anderson vibes.
Really?
Yeah. And I think if you like Wes Anderson's movies, you would like this movie.
I don't know.
I don't like Wes Anderson's movies.
I like a few of them.
I don't.
This is not.
I haven't
did
really
not get that vibe.
Seen a Wes Anderson movie that I liked yet.
Fantastic Mr. Fox? You've seen that,
Okay,
right?
I've seen one movie by Wes Anderson that I liked.
That's the best one.
That's the best one. But I've seen the Grand Budapest Hotel, and I did not like that movie either. And then I got like 10 minutes into, what was that? It was like Asteroid City or whatever.
I don't know if we watched that together.
It was like I think it came out like 2 years ago. I also did not like that.
Yeah. To be fair, I've only seen like 4 of his movies. And don't get me wrong. Well, let's not yap about his movies.
I just meant with the unpredictability and like the cheekiness of it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like it's very tongue in cheek.
The comedy of it?
Yeah, the comedy felt extremely Wes Anderson. And I felt like the pirate showing up was more comedic than anything.
Well, personally, if you're on a yacht, you know, what kind of buildup are you going to have that pirates show up? You're not. So how were we going to get build up that there was gonna be pirates?
It's just like the whole scene before. It's just like everyone's shitting and puking, and then there's this drunk rat, and everyone's freaking out, and then just pirates. I was just like, oh my God, really?
But like that's the thing. Because also that entire scene was building. When I was watching the scene, I was like, this is building up to something. Now.
But it wasn't like a big explosion, like pirates show up and it's like everything. It's like they quietly sink into frame.
Yeah, which I thought that was great. And also the grenade on those two.
That was funny. That was,
yeah.
We'll get to that when I get to the positives.
Okay.
And then my other negative, but we've already talked about this, so we don't need to go super in depth in it.
Yeah, and I had a rebuttal for that whole scene, but we'll get into that actually when I talk about what we like. Okay.
Okay, cool. The ending. I hated it. I fucking hated it. I feel ambiguous endings are great when they're done well. And I feel like this movie did nothing to earn an ambiguous ending. It did not leave me with any, like you said, you said earlier when we talked about it is that oh, well, whatever you think she did kind of says what you feel as a person. And I mean, I guess I can kind of understand that. But in the context of the movie, I don't think that it needed an ambiguous ending. I don't think that it should have. I don't think the characters that were there were engaging enough to warrant an ambiguous ending. I feel like the ambiguous ending either way sucks. And then Cole running through the trees makes no sense any way you slice it, in my opinion.
Dude, we did not feel the same things, man.
No, I
this
actually
movie completely warranted an ambiguous ending because that the whole thing is at the end. Like, do you think she killed her? Like, that's the point of like.
Yeah, but okay, I think she killed her. What does that change?
Yeah,
I
but
don't think she killed her. What does that change?
But this is what I'm saying though is like somebody who does have wealth and power. We don't have wealth and power. We have it. We are watching this movie from that lens. Okay, and then I just feel like someone who is watching this movie from a different lens. Like they're viewing this movie in a different light than we are.
Are me and you watching this movie from a different lens? Are you secretly a rich 1%er and I don't know about it? And I'm just a poor waif over here? Is that why I didn't like this movie and you loved it? You love seeing all the lavish lifestyles?
I liked seeing them all just absolutely lose their shit. Literally
lose their shit.
Yeah. But I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, the ambiguousness, him running was interesting, but I feel like that, I don't know.
I don't think it makes sense any way you slice it. Because when we finished the movie, you asked me why I thought he was running. And I said the only thing I can think of is that he saw the guy who was selling all the paraphernalia, realized, oh shit, we are somewhere where there is a civilization, and then in that moment put together that Abigail was going to kill Yahya.
Oh.
And it doesn't make sense why he would immediately assume Abigail was going to kill Yahya. It also doesn't make any sense that he cares about Yahya anymore at that point. Because if he's being a parasite, he no longer has anything to leech from Yahya. And if he's not being a parasite, he's already cheated on his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So like his care for Yahya is non-existent. So why would he fucking go after?
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Why are you running?
Why?
Yeah. Why is he? Why is he, man?
But I just had this thought too. With Abigail, is it's like if she chooses. Also, if she like, obviously she already chose to, but she does. She chose to use her power, but she didn't abuse her power.
I think she did.
I don't think she did.
Manipulated him into sex using her power.
Well, okay, but it was consensual in the sense of he approached her. He is the one who approached that. She did not. He started that.
Did he?
Yes. When he wasn't when he wasn't getting fed,
he was gonna barter stuff from her.
Immediately started flirting with her.
He did also say to Yahya, what if she wants something else? Like she probably wants something. But I think the fact that she used her power, like she quite literally, he even said it. He's like, they're not gonna like that you're a flesh pit that I'm bartering things from with sex. He said that to her.
He did.
Yeah, which to me is she's using her position of having things that everyone needs and getting sex out of it. I think she was just as disgusting as he was in that situation.
Okay, but he is the reason he is having sex with her for things. And because she is attracted to him and he wants to do that, and she is also playing into that because she does want to have sex and she has things. See, I guess I did call him a parasite, but to be honest, I did hyperbolize on that because it is what's the word? Not an exchange relationship, but like a where you're both getting something out of each other. That's not the word I'm thinking of. I don't know because but I guess
that it would be different if it was like he was having sex with her to get Rolexes, but he was having sex with her to get food.
Right.
Like it's different because it's a necessity. Like he needs that. And she cut him off from that.
No, she was giving him food. She was going to give him food still. He was just doing it for extra food and to sleep in the boat. Like, and by the way, he was getting the most. Like, yeah, he was giving Yahya some pretzels, but he was doing it. He was getting the most food, more food than everyone, and he was getting to sleep in a boat while they were sleeping on the beach.
Yes, but she did cut him off before that because they ate the pretzels out of her bag that she was hiding from everyone.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense.
Well, okay. Well, if we're in a scenario where this comes into Abigail in this beach scenario took on the form of the man in a capitalist society, where she has the things that you need and everyone needs to give things in order to get things. Whereas in what I think should have happened, and this could just be my own views on life, is that she had things that people needed, but she should have spread them because they're all in the same situation together. But she used it to take power over the situation and have control in that situation where everyone is equal, so everyone should be getting equal amounts. Now, she said, you guys aren't doing anything, so you don't deserve anything from me. But I feel like there was a way around that instead of just saying, okay, well, I'm the captain now. There shouldn't have been a captain at that point. They should have been working together. And I think she abused the power by, okay, you took my pretzels, so okay, you're not getting any food anymore. That food is a necessity. Food is not something like a Rolex. Like if she said, okay, well, you're not getting any more Rolexes. Okay, that's fair. They don't need Rolexes. Food is a necessity. You have to have food. So I think in that situation, Abigail was just as bad as the rest of them.
Dude,
it's like Abigail was the lower class on the yacht, and then when they got to the island, Abigail took the role of what the 1%ers on the yacht were.
see, okay, I disagree. And now here's what I'll say, because she obviously was able to catch that octopus, and this is when it started. She caught the octopus, and then she gave everybody parts of it, and she made the fire. She skinned it, she cooked it, she did everything. She gave everybody parts, and then she kept a bunch for herself because in her mind she did all the work. Okay, so then the rest of them are like, well, we're trying to survive. We're on this island. We need to put everything together. And then she goes, okay. So she splits it all up. She goes, here you go. But what am I? And then they all say she's the captain. Okay. So she is essentially being like, and then but as they continue on the island, she is getting them food and giving it to them. She is not abusing that power. She takes the power and she never abuses it.
I think the fact that she cut him off for food for any reason is an abuse of power.
Okay, no, because he stole pretzels
that she was hiding.
Sure, that she was hiding, but at the same time, like he got to eat more food than everyone else.
Yes,
so she says, okay,
after the fact. But I'm saying in that moment, right then and there, she abused her power.
I don't think she did.
Well, because okay, so before she took on the role of the captain, I agree with you. She did all the work. She should get more out of it because she's the one that did the work. Everyone else is leeching off of her. But when she says, okay, well, I'll give you guys everything. Like, I will give you guys food and stuff if I am the captain. She then says, okay, well, I'm taking power. And if you guys let me take power, then obviously you all will get stuff out of it. Which, okay, they've now put her into a leader position. As a leader, the what's the word? Not common. The good of the good of the many takes priority. So everyone should be, her priorities as leader should now change. It should no longer be like, okay, well, I'm leader, so you have to do what I say. Now it should be, I'm leader, so I have to take care of everyone. You know what I mean? And the first day of being leader, cut someone off from food because they do something she doesn't like. That's a tyrant. If the president was, I don't like that this person did this something, they're going to jail. That you would call that tyrannical. Now, this is a much less scaled down situation. However, it's the same principle, is that he did something she didn't like, so she cut him off from a necessity, which is food.
Yeah, for only the night, but yes.
Yeah, but food for a day is,
because he already ate half a pack of pretzels
the previous night. And also the other guy did, and the girl who couldn't speak did as well, but she didn't get any penalties on her because she couldn't speak.
But if she's stopping them from getting food, who's getting their food? The rest of the people.
Yes.
Because they didn't get to eat the pretzels that they ate.
I'm glad you brought up the other guy, though, because both of them did it, and they both didn't get to eat, right?
Yes.
Well, Carl, she was like, I'll give you food if you come have sex with me. So the other guy just got fucked in the situation because she wasn't attracted to him.
Yeah, that's true.
That's an abuse of power. Is like,
okay, but not the power we're talking about. I feel like, okay, so we're saying it's an abuse of power or you're saying it's abuse of power, but I feel like, I guess I don't see. I disagree with you on the whole thing with the pretzels personally, because also all the other girls agreed with her. Like they were all saying that they should not get food that night. Like it wasn't just her saying that. And at the same time, like, because I guess this like challenges our view of if we were stranded on an island, would we create, what society would we create?
Yeah, I mean, it's what the movie is, like you said, it's what the movie's meant to do. And I think it does that well in certain scenarios, but I don't think the entire movie does that. And I think huge chunks of this movie are just so that I didn't feel anything. Like I said, the act 3 with all this jungle stuff and like, you know, the power dynamics of Abigail taking over, I thought that was the most interesting part of the movie. And I thought Woody Harrelson's communist Marxist versus capitalist, I thought that conversation was also interesting. But everything before that was just like, bruh.
Really?
And it just didn't feel like there was any payoff to any of it. Other than Act 3.
That was the whole payoff.
Well, Act 3, I wasn't intrigued because of the payoff from the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like there was a payoff to the other stuff. I was intrigued for different reasons in Act 3.
Yeah, okay.
I do think Act 3 is the strongest act of the movie. But I don't think it's strong for anything that Act 1 or 2 sets up.
Because I feel like every scene in this movie had purpose. I mean,
every scene?
Yeah.
What about the scene where the old lady shits out of her ass and out of her mouth at the same time while she's flopping around on the floor?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, but what purpose did it serve?
We'll talk about that scene when we get into things we like, because I do want to talk about that scene.
Okay.
Not that one specific.
This is going to be a little bit longer review room.
Yeah, well, we can make this part quick, because we've basically already talked about everything.
You know, it's okay. We got a lot more to say on this, so it's going to be a little bit longer, which is fine.
This is why I like this movie, because we have so much to say on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I mean, I like that we have a lot to say, but I don't think the movie warranted it. I feel like we're just.
So you want to end the review?
No, I'm enjoying talking to you.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying making content with you.
No, I'm antagonizing you.
You are antagonizing, and that's fine. I don't mind my views being challenged. I just didn't feel like my views were challenged when I watched this movie. Yeah. I feel like it was what I thought before I watched this movie is the same as I feel now.
Okay. I guess the whole challenging views, sure. But it was like not every movie has to do that. And I guess maybe I might have said that's what this movie was doing earlier, but I more so meant like the theme of this movie did make me think. It made me and I'm still thinking.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I should have said.
Yeah.
And not a lot of movies do that. Or not a lot of movies accomplish that.
I give this movie more credit than I'll give like a Marvel movie. Like I would not say that this I think this movie is art, right? Now, I personally didn't like it. However, I still think that this movie is a piece of art because it is very clearly, there was a direction, there was like a lot of time and effort put into this movie. It's a well-made movie. I just don't think that it was worth watching in my experience because I feel I got nothing out of it. Versus like, you know, like we turn on Jurassic World. It's like I'm sitting down to turn my brain off and look at dinosaurs. You know, like I feel
nothing
like,
out of this movie.
No, I didn't really get anything out of this movie. I don't think. That's what I'm saying. Is by the end of the movie, none of my views I felt were even challenged. Like everything I felt before this movie.
But it didn't make you think.
I mean, it made me think, but like it didn't make me think too hard. It was just like
it also made me think a lot about. All right, let's go into things we like because I'll tie that in.
Okay.
All right.
Things we like. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Well, let me just talk about the scene of them all puking because I already mentioned that earlier.
Okay, cool.
So that scene where they're having the captain's dinner. I really enjoyed that scene because it was the climax of Act 2. So that entire scene, essentially for me, as I'm viewing that, they're all like we're seeing like the pinnacle of kind of each class. So we see them having dinner, and then there's the servers, and then it's like the triangle of sadness, which is that the wherever between the brows or whatever that shows
they mention it at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, so that is like that is the outward appearance that you. I feel like I don't know. There's a couple of ways you could say with the title, but we don't have to get into that. Either way, it's like they're all trying to maintain this image during this captain's dinner, while they're all inside feeling they're seasick, they don't want to eat, and they're all super uncomfortable. The boat is swaying, but literally nobody's addressing it. Nobody is addressing anything because they're all trying to maintain this image that they've created of themselves until the breaking point happens where all of them are literally shitting and puking themselves. And then, yeah, the scene goes on, but I think that's a personal thing, whether you cared about it going on. I honestly liked it go on because it just showed every single character so far. That's why it went on, because there were so many. But either way, it's like they're all like the image they've been trying to create is going away. And then when they all think that the boat's going to sink, even though it's just big shirt guy being him, but either way, when they all think that the boat's going to sink, it's like they're all now on the same level. And this is before I knew that the island thing was going to happen, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, like this entire scene is building up to them literally stripping themselves of their image, and now they're all on the same level because they're potentially all going to sink and die. And they're all shitting and puking, and it's just like everybody is now like when you're the power doesn't matter, the money doesn't matter, you're all gonna die, and you're all all this or that. And I don't know, I just liked the culmination of that scene. And then when we found out that's what the entire third act was about, I feel like that was the buildup of that was foreshadowing the third act, and I liked that.
See, I like that. That was one of my positives, was that scene as well. I have two positives. I'll say that.
Okay.
That was one of them. And I liked it for a different reason.
I didn't even bring up the other thing, but yeah, I'll let you say this, and then if it's go ahead.
This may just show where my and Justin's minds lie, but I like that scene for like a good catharsis. It felt very cathartic seeing all of these, rich pricks. Actually, I have three positives, but seeing all these rich pricks, like, getting stripped down to just being human.
Yes.
Like all of the appearances, all the facade, everything getting stripped away, and people puking and shitting all over themselves. It felt cathartic to me. I thought it was.
That's a good way to say it. They're all stripped down to being human.
Yeah, it's the class divide is no longer there because it's all just one class, people covered in shit and puke.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really well done way to show that everyone is being stripped down to being human.
Yeah.
So I like that scene for the catharsis. And that may just show that I had a little bit more vitriol towards the 1%ers when we went into this movie.
Oh, I'm not saying I don't have any of that, whatever that word means, because I've never heard
vitriol. It means like anger, I guess, is like a more simpler way to say that.
Where'd you learn that word?
I don't know.
Are you a secret 1%er?
Dude, in this episode, we've both
the vocabulary power.
Sometimes I whip them out. Sometimes I just gotta flex my thesaurus.
I'm impressed.
Okay, but no, and I'm not saying you don't have vitriol towards the 1%, but I feel like maybe I went into this movie with a little bit more, like that was a little bit more forefront in my mind than it was yours, I think, which is maybe why I feel a lot less.
I feel like we just said we liked the scene for the same reason, though.
Were you talking about? Well, I'm saying I liked it for the catharsis, not for the. I thought it was a good way to bring them down to human, but I liked seeing them get their comeuppance. I liked seeing them. That's what you were saying?
Yeah, I liked the fact that they were stripped down to the same as everyone else.
Yeah, I thought you were talking more that you liked the symbolism, and I'm just saying I liked seeing these rich assholes get covered in shit and puke.
I was just saying that in addition, like the symbolism of that.
Okay, well, I agree.
Was great.
Well, then I agree because I just like seeing. I like the catharsis, and the symbolism was good on top of it.
Oh yeah,
is what I was saying. So yeah, I guess we agree on that one.
Because honestly, I thought the catharsis was just that was implied that I thought that too.
Oh well,
I feel like anyone watching that is gonna be happy that these shitty people are going through this.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless you are.
Unless you are one of those shitty people.
If you are a rich person watching this,
you're probably not gonna have.
We're also rich.
Yeah, no, we are.
So we should be friends.
Which is why
we're networking right now.
Yep, come contact us at the
PigPenPodcast.
Podcast.
We are super rich and
we're very rich. And
how did you get rich, Damien?
Oil investing.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a really lucrative area. You know how I got rich?
How? You choose your words wisely.
I can't even say.
There's a lot of things you can say.
I can't even say.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's that's why
This
I'm
is
so
the
rich.
Dark Horse episode. This is the 19th attempt, and this is the one where you get canceled.
Yep. Rich people, dude, when they can't tell you how they're rich, that's when you know they're rich.
Yeah, that's true, but it's usually not great.
No, it's not. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point.
It's fine.
I'll just blame it on the
Yeah, you can blame it on me. I'm
Yeah.
antagonizing you.
Anyways, what I was also going to say is when Woody Harrelson and the pink shirt guy are also doing the whole intercom thing where they're talking about socialism, communism, and capitalism. And I also just love that. Yes, also for the symbolism, but because that is another thing that this movie is making you think about. Because when they're on the island, you know, the structure the government they created essentially, even though it's not even really a government.
It would technically be a
Bare
government.
bones.
They put someone into power. So there is a government official at this point. Like I said, stripped down, but it would technically be. And I agree that the whole Woody Harrelson pink eye conversation was like a lead up to seeing that they chose a form of government and whatever they chose. I wouldn't call what they did on the island. I wouldn't call it capitalistic, but it definitely wasn't socialistic.
Yeah, it was definitely.
It was like a breed of both.
Well, yeah. And I also love Woody Harrelson's line of I'm a shit socialist.
Yeah.
Because he says, because that's another thing I was thinking about. Because he talks about how he has all this stuff and yet he believes in socialism. And then it's like, if you live in a capitalist society, you live in whatever kind of society, and you believe it should be socialist, you have the means to still be a socialist. Like, you can still get a paycheck and go out and split it amongst a bunch of people, or however your view of socialism is. If you have a socialistic view, but you live in a different society, you technically could still adhere to socialism, I feel like, in your own life.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know,
Woody Harrelson's character arc was realizing, oh no, I don't do that, and I could. I am a shit socialist.
Because his whole thing is like, you know, which is another thing that, as a society, you know, we have a lot to say, but what are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, literally.
We have a lot to say, but
what are we doing?
We're recording.
Dude, I think we should just. No, I'm just kidding. We'll start after this video. You know what we should do?
You know what we should do?
You know what we should do, don't you?
I know what we should do.
Yep. Okay, good.
No, we should donate every penny that we make from this episode to a charity.
Okay.
And it's unfortunate we're not in the partner program yet, so we will be making 0 pennies, but we're donating them in spirit.
Every penny we make from this video is going to go to, honestly, why one? Why one charity?
All the charities.
All the charities.
All the charities. Look at us.
All the charities.
We're good socialists.
Yep. And we're only paying in pennies, right?
Yes, only pennies.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they got rid of the penny.
Who knows what they did, man?
Well,
we should know, shouldn't we?
It adds a layer to the bit, because the bit was we're not making money, so how can we donate?
We say things, but what are we doing?
But then if we're donating pennies, pennies don't exist anymore, so it adds a whole layer to the bit. It takes 6 levels of intellect to even understand this bit.
If a penny falls in the forest, did it fall? Wait. You know what I mean, though?
Yes.
I have pennies.
Yes.
They do exist.
Yes.
And I can use them.
Okay.
All right, what else did you like?
The second thing was the lady at the pool. I thought it was a good way to show how these 1%ers, it was a good way to show how they did not care about the well-being of anyone else. They just cared for their own personal enjoyment and feelings of fulfillment. Because this lady in the pool, she's basically beckoning a worker into the pool. And it's like, okay, well, the worker's telling you she doesn't want to be in the pool. And the lady keeps saying, no, you want to be in the pool. Trust me, I know what you want because it'll be fun. Live in the moment. And the worker's like, no, I'm going to get in trouble. I don't want to do that. And then the lady, the fact that she did that is the whole reason the food went bad and why everyone got seafood poisoning. But I thought that it was a good way to show that this lady thinks she knows what everyone else wants, and she forces them into doing it, and it fucks everything up.
Yeah, and it is another display of power and
I like that sequence.
I like that too. Yeah, that's
and
cool.
then my final positive of the movie was an overall comedy. I thought the comedy in this movie was very good.
Yeah, I agree with you.
The comedy in this movie was great. I thought it was genuinely a funny movie.
Yeah, nice. I do agree with you on that one, because it was just very much. I love satire, and I feel like that they did
Woody
it
Harrelson
well.
was the funniest character.
Yeah, he was great, and Pink Shirt Guy.
Yeah, Pink Shirt Guy was also funny, but also one of the biggest pieces of shit in the movie, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. So I guess now that I think about it, I didn't even say I didn't say anything I disliked. I just, when you said you disliked things, I said no, and then I argued.
Well, I mean, if you like the movie,
actually,
you said you loved the movie, so it's like,
yeah,
there's probably not a lot you have to say you disliked. So
Yeah, and I
it
guess
makes sense that you had less.
Well, all that to say,
Well, what if I cut you off again?
yeah, okay.
No, go ahead.
All that to say, like, I did enjoy this movie. It did make me think, and so on and so forth. But like, I don't know. I don't like, this was a good movie. This was a great movie. I wouldn't say this was an astounding movie. So, anywho, I guess we can get into that when we say our rating. But
All right.
But yeah, I also agree with you on those. As far as things I really liked, I think think we kind of said everything.
All right. Well, I mean, we went a little bit longer than normal, so that's enough discussion for now.
Yeah, I think so.
We can do a part 2 to this episode. In 10
You know what?
years. Our 25th anniversary PigPenPodcast special should be part 2 of Triangle of Sadness.
Oh no, we've said enough.
I think we should say more.
No.
All right. The people are getting restless. They want to hear what these scores are.
Okay, and honestly, if you don't think we said enough, this is our
Let us know in the comments.
300th time filming this.
Yeah.
So after this, we'll just film it again.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll scrap this episode.
All right.
Do you just want to restart, actually?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we'll give the rating, and then we'll just delete it, and then we'll do it again.
Yeah. Welcome to the PigPen Podcast. I'm your host, Damien.
And I'm your other host, Justin.
And do you want to hear the rating of this movie?
Yeah.
You go first.
Okay.
Because mine's going to be worse, so I want to give it
That's
climactic
fine.
effect.
I give this movie an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. 4.
4?
4. Because 5 for me is straight up middle. I have no feelings, negative or positive. It was just an overall, experience. 4 is negative. And this is the first time that we've had a negative experience on the review room. I give this movie 2.5 points for how good the comedy was. Half a point because I liked Pink Shirt Guy and Woody Harrelson. And then 1 point because the island stuff was a little interesting with how the power dynamics worked.
Fair enough. I give it an 8 because if I were to give it a 9, I feel like this would be one. This would probably be in my top 50 movies if I give this a 9. I wouldn't say it's that. And I guess also another thing for a 9 is because a 10 is perfection, and I don't know, giving 10s just, I feel like that should be really saved.
10s are borderline, I came during this movie.
Yeah, oh yeah. 9 is that movie floored me.
Yeah.
This movie didn't floor me, but it made me think, and I enjoyed the comedy. I enjoyed what I watched. I enjoyed the plot. I didn't think it was perfect, and it didn't wow me, but I really think the movie accomplished what it was going for. So 8.
Yeah.
Well,
you got a 4 and an 8, so pretty. I mean, you had double the score that I did.
Yeah.
So I mean, if someone watched this movie, it's gonna be not. I feel like it's gonna be just straight up in there. In between a 4 and an 8.
Yeah. Or it could be a 9.
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe
Could be a 10.
Maybe we'll do 6 more art house movies in a row.
Yeah.
And then every
I
time.
don't think this was art house.
Dude, it was at the Cannes Film Festival. If it's got that, because it's not like it just showed there. They literally put the Cannes Film Festival logo on the movie when it started. When the movie started, that was the first logo that popped up. When that happens,
Yeah, but this
when that
wasn't
happens, I'm
art
I'm
house.
sitting there waiting, okay, I'm about to watch some prissy fucking oh, this is next level cinema experience type shit. Like
That was not art house. Come on.
I don't know. There's a lot of poop and shit,
Exactly.
and that's art house.
This just had the feel of drama. That's what it was. That's why I feel like that's why you're saying art house. This was just a drama.
I don't know. I'm
That
only
was
saying
filmed-
art house because of the Cannes Film Festival stamp.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It didn't feel super. It like you said, it feels like the White Lotus, but in a movie format.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I like the White Lotus a lot. So it's not just the unpredictability and the not really having a plot, watching characters. It's just for this movie, it didn't work for me.
I understand. And I think The White Lotus is one of the greatest
White Lotus season 2 is one of the greatest seasons of
It is.
television I've ever seen
it
in
is,
my
but
life.
what I was saying is The White Lotus does characters the best.
Yeah.
It is astounding at characters.
Yeah, see, that's like a movie that is character driven where there's not really a good plot. It's just characters. And if I don't like the characters, then
Yeah, well the thing is it's a show, and the benefit of a show is you have more time to
Yeah.
watch the characters. But we don't gotta get into that because anywho.
this has been the review room. 8 and a 4. 8 and a 4.
And this might be this video I feel like was just the culmination of a tired sequence of events that we tried to accomplish
Yeah.
but failed at.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And it's just this is us giving up. This
Should
is
we like cut some of this probably?
this is the final episode of the Pigpen podcast.
Yeah. Maybe we just cut the channel.
Yeah. I'll do what PewDiePie did, and when we hit a certain subscriber count, I'll delete everything.
Yeah.
And that subscriber count will be 62 billion.
Dude, that's going to be like 3 days from now, man.
Try 3 hours. I look at the stats more than you do.
We're rambling, bro.
We are rambling. Okay, you know what? Bye, everyone.
No, wait. You know what we should do?
What should we do?
We should like cut the video out at just some random point and like just cut it off. Like we don't actually do an outro. So like it's us just yapping and we're just keep saying words and essentially having like this one-sided conversation where I'm the only one talking and
But
you're
what if
not
I say oink oink randomly during
and
that
then,
part?
yes, and then you say oink oink randomly at that point.
Because I always say oink oink as
You
we're
always
ending
do.
the video. I'm always like oink oink
You always
everybody.
say oink oink everybody, and then that's
And
when
then-
the video ends. But
Well, no, because like it wouldn't this time. We would keep rambling. And
okay,
it
so
would-
we can do it. Okay, so okay,
So
okay,
like
okay.
at some
No, hear
point
me
in there,
out
they
on
would
this.
hear oink oink everybody, and they'd think that it was going to end, but
Okay.
it wouldn't actually end. We keep rambling after it ended.
Yeah. So actually, technically, the ending is still going to be like ambiguous.
Yeah, no, it'll
So
be just like the movie.
At the end, they'll have to decide like, did we end the video?
But was it worth it? Was it worth it? Was the wait worth
Yeah.
all of this
Was
rambling
the
and
entire
nonsense and
build-up
ambiguity?
from the entire video to now? Have we ended the video yet?
I think we have 3 times at this point.
Okay.
Oink oink, everybody.